Welcome to the world of science fiction. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss new stories. Enjoy the listening.
On a crisp, clear night, Jack adjusted the lenses of the observatory's telescope, his eyes scanning the heavens for anomalies in the starlit sky. Beside him, his colleague, an older, seasoned astronomer named Carl, was meticulously jotting down readings from their latest scans. "Jack, you might want to see this," Carl said, his voice unusually tense as he gestured toward the computer screen that displayed incoming data. "What's up?" Jack asked, approaching with a mix of curiosity and concern. "There's a series of objects moving in a formation I've never seen before. Look at their speed and trajectory," Carl explained, pointing at the blips moving across the screen. As Jack peered at the data, his heart raced. "They're too fast to be satellites, and the pattern is too uniform for meteorites," he murmured, his mind racing through possibilities. The phone rang, startling them in the quiet of the late shift. Carl answered, his brow furrowing as he listened. "Yes, this is the Clearwater Observatory." "Uh-huh. Yes, we see it too." Jack listened as Carl confirmed their observations with other observatories. The reality that they were witnessing something unprecedented began to sink in. "We need to report this, Carl. It could be first contact," Jack said, his voice barely above a whisper, a mix of excitement and apprehension swirling within him. Carl hung up and turned to Jack. "The space agency's on high alert. They're convening an emergency meeting with the UN. They want us there first thing in the morning to consult. We're actually doing this, aren't we?" Jack's eyes were wide with the magnitude of what they were facing. The next morning, Jack and Carl arrived at the designated government facility, a buzz of activity greeting them. Officials, scientists, and military personnel moved briskly, their faces etched with concern and intrigue. In the briefing room, they met Dr. Helen Cho, a top official with the space agency, who was coordinating the global response. She introduced them to another key figure, General Abrams, a stern man who looked as if he was perpetually bracing for impact. "Dr. Cho, General, this is unprecedented," Carl started, but Dr. Cho interjected. "We've established that much, Dr. Carl. What we need to figure out is what comes next. Observations suggest they're not hostile, but we need to prepare for any scenario." Jack chimed in. "Our best approach is communication. We should be trying to understand their intentions, make contact." General Abrams was skeptical. "And if their intentions are not as peaceful as you hope, Mr. Jack? We need to consider all possibilities." The room buzzed with tension as different factions argued their points. The scientists pushed for a diplomatic approach to communication, while military strategists prepared for defensive measures. As the debate waged on, Jack thought about the historical weight of this moment. Humanity was on the cusp of confirming they were not alone in the universe. This could change everything. He knew he wanted to be at the forefront, advocating for a peaceful approach. "We need to focus on gathering more data," Jack finally said, his voice firm. "We can't make informed decisions without understanding who they are. Let's use our resources to communicate, not escalate." Dr. Cho nodded in agreement. "Jack's right. Let's set up a team to focus on communication. Carl, Jack, I want you two on this. Start working on a signal, something non-threatening, a greeting." As the meeting adjourned, Jack and Carl headed to their new temporary office, a small room filled with monitors and communication equipment. "Carl, do you think they're just observing?" Jack asked, still in awe of the situation. "Or we're the lab rats," Carl responded with a wry smile. "Either way, we're about to find out." As they settled in, preparing their equipment to send humanity's first interstellar greeting, the weight of their task settled over them. Jack felt a thrill run through him. This was the moment his life's work had led up to. He was ready. Early the next morning, Jack and Carl, joined by another key team member, Tom, an expert in linguistics and communication, huddled around a cluttered table laden with papers, laptops, and several cups of coffee, testaments to the long night they had spent preparing. "Okay, we've set up the signal, a simple mathematical sequence. It's ready to be broadcast," Jack announced, looking from Carl to Tom, seeking confirmation. Tom nodded, his eyes flickering with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. "Mathematics is the universal language, or so we hope. If they are intelligent and curious, They'll understand it's a gesture of communication, not aggression. Carl, ever the skeptic, chimed in. And if they interpret it differently, we need to be prepared for that possibility. We've gone over this, Carl. We can't operate out of fear, Jack argued, his tone steady yet reassuring. We need to take this first step. The trio moved to the communications deck where several large screens showed live feeds from around the globe, news stations reporting nonstop on the appearance of the alien ships. The world was watching, waiting, anxious. Tom adjusted the transmission settings, his hands steady despite the palpable tension in the room. Transmitting in 3, 2, 1. He pressed the button, and the sequence was sent into the cosmos towards the alien ships. The team waited in silence, eyes glued to the screens that monitored the skies and their instruments for any kind of response. Minutes ticked by, feeling more like hours in the charged atmosphere. Finally, the signal spiked, a return message echoing through their equipment, a series of rhythmic pulses that mimicked the structure of their original message. "They've responded," Tom exclaimed, his voice a mix of relief and disbelief. "They're mimicking our pattern. They understood us." Carl leaned in, analyzing the data. "It's a mirror of our signal. This is good. It means they're at least open to learning more, right?" Jack grinned, a surge of hope rising within him. "It's more than good. It's incredible. They're communicating. Now, we need to interpret what comes next." The team expanded their efforts, involving other experts in cryptology and xenolinguistics. Mike, a cryptologist, joined the team, bringing fresh insights into the decoding process. As they pored over the data, trying to crack the nuances of the alien communication, Jack looked around the room. "This is it, guys. We're not just making history. We're making contact." Mike adjusted his glasses, his gaze fixed on the screen. "Let's keep the conversation going. What if we modify our sequence to include basic information about us? Like our structure, our DNA?" "That might be too much too soon, Mike," Carl cautioned. "Let's stick to basics. We don't know their intentions yet." Tom suggested a compromise. "How about something non-invasive? Solar system information, planetary positions, something that shows intelligence and willingness to share." The team agreed, and they worked together to formulate a new message. Jack coordinated the efforts, ensuring every piece of data was double-checked, every sequence perfectly aligned for transmission. Hours later, they were ready again. Tom sent the new message, this time a representation of their solar system, a simple, elegant diagram of their home. Again, the response came quicker this time, a series of visual patterns that, when rendered on their screens, showed a startlingly beautiful and complex arrangement of what they could only assume were the aliens' celestial understanding. "Look at this," Jack said, pointing at the patterns that seemed to depict stars, perhaps galaxies. "They're sharing their view of the universe with us." The implications were enormous. The aliens weren't just visiting. They were reaching out, sharing knowledge, perhaps even offering friendship. Carl, often the voice of caution, allowed himself a small smile. "We might just get through this without a hitch." Tom clapped both men on the back. From here on out, it's not just a dialogue. It's a learning experience for both sides. The chapter would close on the team, exhausted but exhilarated, as they prepared for the long journey of mutual discovery ahead, with the night sky no longer a vast unknown, but a canvas of shared secrets. Under the dim glow of the operation room's lights, Jack, Carl, and Tom convened with a new addition to their team, Dr. Eric Benson, a psychologist specializing in nonverbal communication and behavior. Their mission for the day was to deepen the emerging dialogue with the aliens and try to discern not just how but why they communicated the way they did. Eric adjusted his glasses, looking at the screens displaying the aliens' latest communication. "It's fascinating," he began. "Their patterns are complex, but there's a symmetry that suggests they're not just random. There's intent, there's personality, for lack of a better word." "Personality?" Carl raised an eyebrow, skeptical. "You mean they might have individual differences, like us?" "Possibly," Eric nodded. "If we're interpreting these patterns correctly, they could be expressing more than just information. Maybe emotions or something like them." Jack leaned in, intrigued by this angle. "So, how do we respond? We've been factual so far. Should we try something more human? That might just work, Tom chimed in. Maybe share something universal, like music? Music, Eric mused, a brilliant idea. It's fundamentally mathematical, but also deeply emotional. It could bridge our worlds. The team decided to transmit a selection of Earth music, ranging from classical compositions to folk songs from various cultures, representing a spectrum of human emotion and creativity. As Tom prepared the transmission, Jack coordinated with the communications team to ensure the broadcast would go smoothly. Sending in 3, 2, 1, Tom announced and pressed the transmit button. The melodies of Bach, intertwined with the rhythms of a West African drum and the haunting tunes of a Native American flute, journeyed through space toward the alien vessels. As the music played through their own speakers, the room filled with an almost palpable hope. The team stood listening, each man lost in thoughts about how their alien counterparts might perceive this auditory glimpse into humanity. Hours passed with no response, the team alternating between monitoring incoming data and discussing potential implications of what they had done. The silence from the aliens was unnerving, but just as the tension reached a peak, the signal board lit up. The aliens had sent a new message. This time, the data was different. It wasn't visual patterns or mimicked sequences. It was sound, a complex, harmonious sound that mimicked the structure of the music they had sent but was clearly alien in origin. "They're responding with music," Eric exclaimed, almost breathless with excitement. They understood, and they're communicating back on the same level. Carl, who had been the most reserved about the music idea, couldn't help but smile. "I'll be damned. Music. It really is a universal language." Jack, feeling a surge of connection to these mysterious beings, suggested, "Let's analyze the structure of their music. See what they're telling us. This could be a real conversation now, not just data exchange." The team worked into the night, Eric guiding them through the nuances of the alien music. "Notice the repetitions here? And the variations here? It's a form of storytelling. They're telling us about themselves, their history or emotions, maybe even their hopes." As the night wore on, Tom plotted the notes and pauses on graphs, trying to find patterns or messages. "It's like piecing together a puzzle without the picture on the box," he joked, but his eyes shone with the thrill of discovery. Jack decided they needed to continue this musical exchange to build on this newfound level of communication. "Let's prepare another piece. Something of our own creation. A composition that tells our story, our desire for peace and understanding." "An Earth Symphony," Carl suggested, finally fully on board. "Exactly," Jack agreed, his mind already racing with ideas. "Let's get some composers on the phone, maybe get an orchestra together. If music is our shared language, let's make the most of it." The chapter would end with the team, invigorated by the breakthrough, planning their next steps. They were no longer just scientists and military strategists. They were artists, composers of a new symphony of interstellar communication, crafting a message of harmony and hope that might, just might, span the stars. In the wake of their musical exchange, the aliens began a series of maneuvers that suggested they were preparing to come closer to Earth. The world watched in mixed awe and anxiety as 3 alien crafts detached from the main ship, descending into the atmosphere. Jack, Carl, Tom, and Eric gathered in the Situation Room with a new team member, Dr. Richard Lowe, an expert in extraterrestrial environments, who had been brought in to assess the safety and logistics of a closer encounter. "Looks like they're initiating the next step of this relationship," Richard said, reviewing the satellite images of the craft's descent paths. "If they land, we'll need protocols in place for everything from quarantine measures to communication." Carl nodded, his eyes fixed on the screen. "We should meet them. Show them we're willing to host them, learn from them." Jack agreed, his voice firm. "We need a welcoming committee. Scientists, diplomats, linguists. Let's show them humanity is united and ready for this." Tom, who had been quiet, looked up. "I think we should also consider the public's reaction. We need a solid plan to manage the crowds and the media. This could easily turn into a circus," Eric added. "And let's not forget the psychological aspect. Both our people and theirs are encountering a completely alien species. We need to prepare for all possible emotional responses, As the alien vessels approached a remote but accessible area, preparations were made for their landing. The team coordinated with international leaders and local authorities to secure the site, while a mixed group of scientists and diplomats, including the core team, prepared to meet the aliens firsthand. The day of the landing was crisp and clear. The team, now dressed in specially designed suits to prevent any unintentional contamination, stood at the site, their eyes skyward as the alien crafts descended with a quiet grace that belied their size. "Here they come," Jack muttered, his hand instinctively going to the device they had prepared for live communication. As the crafts touched down and the dust settled, a hatch opened slowly on the nearest ship. A ramp extended towards the ground, and for a moment, everything was still. A figure appeared at the top of the ramp, its form humanoid but clearly not human, with a smooth, reflective skin that shimmered slightly in the sunlight. It paused, then began to descend towards the waiting team. "Welcome," Jack started, his voice broadcasted through the device that would translate his words. "We are honored by your visit." The alien paused at the bottom of the ramp, its head tilting slightly as if to acknowledge Jack's greeting. A series of soft, melodic tones emanated from it, clearly a form of speech, and the device quickly translated. "We seek harmony and understanding. This is a significant day," Eric whispered to the team. "Observe their body language. No sudden moves. They're cautious but not fearful." Carl responded quietly, handing the alien what appeared to be a small gift, a piece of artwork depicting peaceful Earth landscapes. "A symbol of our goodwill," he explained through the translator. The alien accepted the gift, examining it closely, then emitted a series of pleasant tones, which the device translated as, "We appreciate this gesture. We bring knowledge and curiosity." The initial meeting went better than anyone had hoped. The aliens were composed and communicative, expressing a desire to learn about Earth's cultures and share their own. As the day progressed, Richard conducted them on a tour of the temporary facilities set up for their stay, a combination of Earth technology and modifications suggested by the preliminary alien communications to accommodate their environmental needs. Tom took charge of documenting everything, from the technical setups to the interactions, ensuring a detailed record was kept. "This is not just historic. It's the start of a new chapter in human history," he noted to his recording device. By the end of the chapter, the team, together with their new alien guests, sat down to begin what was termed the first interstellar cultural exchange session. Jack looked around, a sense of pride swelling in his chest. This was the beginning of true understanding, a step towards a future where humanity was not alone in the universe. The following days saw the establishment of a cultural exchange center, a place designed to facilitate understanding and shared learning between humans and the alien visitors. Jack, Carl, Tom, Eric, and Richard, along with other experts from various fields, were integral in shaping the agenda for these exchanges. The center was a hub of activity, with areas designated for language sharing, technological demonstrations, and cultural presentations. Today, the team focused on setting up an exhibition of human technologies, ranging from simple machines to advanced computing, intended to show the aliens the breadth of human ingenuity. "Let's make sure everything we present is clear and accessible. We want to demystify our technology, not intimidate," Jack directed, overseeing the installation of a holographic display. Carl, working alongside a physicist, adjusted a model of a human-made satellite. "This will help them understand how we explore space. Think it'll impress them?" Tom chuckled, arranging the section dedicated to medical advancements. "I'm more curious about what they'll show us. Their tech is likely light years ahead, but maybe there's common ground." As the aliens arrived, led by the one who had first stepped off their ship, now known as Aylar, the atmosphere was one of mutual curiosity. The humans wore translation devices, and the aliens had their own means of translating human speech. Eric, always the observer, noted, "Watch how they interact with the displays. It's not just what we tell them, but what they ask about that will reveal their priorities and interests." The aliens moved through the displays, their interest piqued by the variety. Aylar stopped at the satellite model, his tones melodic and questioning. "Your species looks to the stars as we do. What have you found in your searches?" Carl explained, using a tablet to show images from various missions. We've explored our solar system, and we've sent probes beyond. We're just beginning to understand the vastness of space. Ayler responded with sounds of approval, his own device translating his words. We have traveled far and seen much. Perhaps we can share our maps of the cosmos. Jack, intrigued, joined the conversation. We would appreciate that greatly. And perhaps consider a joint venture? Space is vast enough for all of us to explore. As the day progressed, Richard led a demonstration on environmental technology, showcasing efforts to preserve Earth's ecosystems. Here's how we address our planet's climate issues, he explained, pointing to models of wind turbines and solar panels. One of the younger aliens, more slender and seemingly eager, expressed through the translator, "We have technologies that might assist in such efforts. We use energy from our star in ways that might be beneficial here." Tom, documenting everything, realized the significance of such exchanges. This is more than cultural show and tell. It's the beginning of technological collaboration. Later, at a roundtable discussion, Eric facilitated a session on philosophy and ethics, a topic he was particularly keen to delve into. "We are eager to understand your guiding principles, your philosophical beliefs." Ayler and his group communicated ideas of harmony with the cosmos, balance, and learning, themes that resonated deeply with the human contingent. "Our guiding principle is the pursuit of knowledge, to understand the universe and our place within it," Ayler concluded. As the day wound down, the teams from both species gathered for a shared meal, Earth foods modified for alien consumption, and vice versa. Jack raised his glass in a toast, a gesture Ayler mimicked after a brief explanation. "To new friends and the shared journey of discovery," Jack proclaimed. "To the stars and beyond," Ayler replied, his translator echoing his sentiments in human speech. The chapter closed with the teams exchanging not just knowledge but a newfound respect and admiration for each other's cultures and accomplishments, laying the groundwork for a deep and lasting alliance based on mutual interest and collaborative potential. In the weeks following the cultural exchange, Jack and Ayler had grown notably closer, often seen discussing various topics long after the formal sessions had ended. Their friendship became a symbol of the burgeoning relationship between humans and the aliens. Tonight, they planned to meet in a quieter part of the cultural center to discuss the concept of human art and emotion, a topic Ayler found particularly fascinating. "Art is a reflection of our inner selves. It's very personal but also universal," Jack explained, showing Ayler images of famous artworks from around the world on a digital screen. Ayler responded with interest, his translator conveying his thoughts. "We too create, but our art is different. It is more about the harmony of forms, the balance of elements. I see your art often portrays emotions." "Yes, it's often about expressing what we feel, what we think about life and our experiences," Jack said, noticing the keen interest Ayler showed in the portraits displaying human emotions. Ayler pointed at a painting of a couple embracing. "What is this expression?" he asked, his tone indicating genuine curiosity. "That's an expression of love, affection between individuals. It's a fundamental human experience," Jack explained, his voice softening as he discussed the concept. "Do your people not experience love?" Jack asked, his interest piqued. "We experience a form of bonding, but not like this. It is more about intellectual and spiritual connection," Ayler explained, his head tilting slightly as if struggling to find the right words. The conversation shifted as they walked through a part of the garden where earth plants were displayed alongside alien flora, a project Ayler had suggested to illustrate the diversity of life each civilization valued. As they walked, Ayler seemed contemplative, then spoke again. "Jack, I would like to understand more about this human emotion, love. How do you experience it?" Jack thought for a moment, searching for the right words. "It's more than just liking someone. It's a deep connection. You feel it everywhere, in your mind, your heart. It can be joyous or painful, sometimes both. Is it necessary for your kind?" Ayler asked, his voice indicating his attempt to dissect the complexity of human relationships. "It's not necessary, but it enriches life. It gives depth to our existence," Jack responded, feeling the gravity of their exchange. Their discussion was interrupted by Tom, who approached with a smile. "There you two are. We're about to start the music session," Earth and alien instruments together. You shouldn't miss it. Both Jack and Ayler agreed to join, and as they headed to the session, the atmosphere lightened. The music session began with Tom playing a gentle melody on a piano, joined by an alien instrument that produced a series of harmonic tones. As the music filled the room, Jack and Ayler listened intently. After the session, they continued their earlier conversation, with Ayler expressing a desire to experience more human emotions firsthand. I will ponder on this, love. It is complex, yet it seems vital to your kind, Ayler concluded, his tone mixed with respect and a trace of bewilderment. Jack nodded, smiling warmly. Maybe one day, you'll experience it for yourself. The chapter closed with Jack and Ayler watching the stars from the garden, a silent acknowledgement of their deepening friendship and understanding between their two species. This quiet moment underscored the intimacy of their discussions, a poignant reflection of the trust and curiosity that had grown between them. In the wake of the deepening personal connections between some humans and the aliens, concerns began to surface among others in the broader community. Not all were comfortable or trusting of the alien visitors' intentions. Within a secluded conference room, Jack met with Carl, Tom, and Eric, along with General Abrams and Dr. Richard Lowe, to discuss the rising unease. We're hearing more pushback from various sectors, political groups, the public, even within our own ranks, General Abrams started, his voice grave as he laid out the reports. People fear what these relationships might mean, what we're exposing ourselves to. Carl nodded, acknowledging the general's concerns. It's natural to fear the unknown. Our guests are different, not just in appearance but in their thoughts and customs. But we've seen their willingness to engage and share. Jack added, our exchanges have only brought about positive outcomes. We've learned so much. We need to emphasize the mutual benefits. Eric chimed in, his psychologist's perspective crucial. It's about communication. We need to better communicate these benefits, make them tangible to the public. Fear often comes from misunderstanding. Tom suggested a proactive approach. What if we organized more public forums, live broadcasts of our sessions? Show in real time how these exchanges are conducted, how we're benefiting from the aliens' technology and knowledge. General Abrams was hesitant. It's a double-edged sword. More visibility could also increase scrutiny and fear if not managed correctly. As they debated, a call came through on Jack's communicator. It was Ayler, requesting a meeting outside the formal agenda. Jack excused himself and met Ayler in a small courtyard, a place they'd often conversed in private. Ayler, what's on your mind? Jack asked, noting the alien's seemingly troubled demeanor. We sense the growing unease among your people, Ayler began, his translator capturing the subtle inflections of concern. We do not wish to be a source of discord. Our mission is to learn, not to divide. Jack felt a pang of empathy. I understand. But know this, many of us, myself included, see this as a crucial step forward for humanity. We're facing challenges, yes, but nothing that can't be overcome. Ayler nodded slowly. Perhaps it is time for us to contribute more directly to your society. Share technology that can have immediate benefits, help solve pressing issues. Back in the conference room, Jack relayed Ayler's concerns and suggestions. The group weighed the risks and benefits of introducing alien technology into human society more rapidly. Richard was thoughtful. There's potential here to really showcase the advantages of this partnership. Clean energy tech, medical advancements, things people can see and feel. Eric agreed. Direct benefits can help change the narrative, turn fear into acceptance. General Abrams finally conceded. All right, let's draft a plan. Start small, with something non-threatening but impactful. We'll need to coordinate closely with our alien friends and ensure we're transparent about everything. The chapter concluded with the team planning a series of joint initiatives that would introduce alien-derived technologies in controlled environments. They aimed to foster broader acceptance and dispel fears through visible and beneficial outcomes. Jack and Ayler's partnership, built on trust and mutual respect, would be key to navigating the complexities ahead, proving that two vastly different species could indeed find common ground and work together for the betterment of all. The initiative to integrate alien technology into human society was set in motion. Jack, Carl, Tom, and Eric, along with General Abrams, convened in the newly established Integration Office, a facility designed to facilitate the controlled introduction of alien innovations to the public. Let's start with the environmental tech, Richard suggested as he displayed the schematics on the large screen at the front of the room. It's less likely to cause alarm and more likely to be welcomed. General Abrams nodded. Agreed. Clean energy solutions could really help soften public opinion and show the tangible benefits of this partnership. Jack turned to his team. Tom, can you handle the media side? We need to ensure our message is clear and consistent. Absolutely, Tom replied, already drafting a list of key points for the upcoming press release. Transparency is our best policy here. Carl, ever meticulous, was focused on logistics. I'll coordinate with the tech teams and make sure we have a thorough understanding of how everything works before we go public. We need to be able to handle any questions that come our way. As preparations continued, Jack arranged to meet Ayler to discuss the final details of the technology transfer. They met in the garden, where many of their most productive conversations had taken place. Ayler, this is a big step, Jack began, watching the alien's calm, collected demeanor. Are you sure your people are ready for this? We are, Ayler affirmed. We see the potential for growth, for both our species. This collaboration could be the foundation for a long-lasting alliance. Jack nodded, feeling the weight and promise of their undertaking. And on our side, I'll make sure we respect and honor the trust you're placing in us. The day of the announcement arrived. Media crews from around the globe had gathered, their cameras and microphones poised to capture the historic moment. Jack and Ayler stood together, addressing the world. Ladies and gentlemen, Jack began, his voice steady despite the butterflies in his stomach. Today marks a new chapter in human history. With the support of our friends from the stars, we are introducing technologies that will help us protect and nurture our planet. Ayler took over, his speech translated seamlessly. We share this technology in the spirit of friendship and hope. Together, we can face the challenges of today and create a sustainable future for all our peoples. The presentation included a demonstration of a small-scale, alien-inspired energy generator. The device was sleek and emitted a soft hum as it powered up, the readouts displaying its efficiency. Carl explained the technical aspects, ensuring the audience understood the safety and environmental benefits. This unit is capable of powering a small town with zero emissions and minimal maintenance. The public reaction was mixed, as expected, but the prevailing sentiment was one of cautious optimism. Social media buzzed with discussions and debates, many expressing awe and gratitude, others skepticism and fear. Tom monitored the reactions in real time, providing updates to the team. The outreach is working. People are mostly positive when they see the benefits firsthand. Eric, who had been working on a support strategy for those struggling with the changes, added, "We're setting up hotlines and support centers to address concerns." Education is key. As the chapter and the story drew to a close, the team watched as the sun set behind the Integration Office. They had crossed a monumental threshold, not just in technology but in interstellar relations. Jack looked at his colleagues, his friends, and felt a profound sense of accomplishment. "We did it," he said, a simple statement filled with relief and hope. "Yes," Carl replied, "we did. And tomorrow, we continue." The story ended with the team ready to face whatever came next, their bond strengthened, their resolve unshaken, and their future unfurling with limitless possibilities under the watchful eyes of both human and alien kindreds.